Hello, hello, hello. We are live with lots of background feedback. Mike, really? All
Sorry.
right. Thanks.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Sum. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching live. And for those of you that are not live, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. And hello, we got a new guest on, Miss Victoria. How you doing? Like I said, we just came in just now, so we're about to get it rolling. And so we're doing another episode of Beyond the Sum. Today's topic is what, Jordan?
Non-Monogamy 101, talking about myths and misunderstandings. Yay! I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So, with that, we have some awesome guests who have chosen to lean in with us today. Thank you for joining us today. And just to kick things off, if both of you could just share a little bit about your experience in non monogamous relationships and how you found yourself on this path. Like, yes.
Um, for me, I'm still like relatively, I guess, new at it. Like I just found out that there was an acronym for it myself within the past 2 or 3 years. Um, but prior to that, I always kind of had this, I don't know, traditional relationships kind of just didn't work for me for various reasons. Sometimes it was me, you know what I mean? Sometimes I wasn't forthcoming, or I wasn't the best communicator, or I wasn't um, faithful sometimes, you know what I mean? But one day after, basically, well, after me and my son's mom split up, I had another relationship after that, which was like a traditional relationship, and ultimately it was a rebound, to be completely honest with myself and everybody watching. And I kind of, after that ran its course and it was over, I looked in the mirror and I was like, what do I really want? Because this isn't, it's not working for me. I kind of don't like the person I become in those situations because I'm definitely kind of more, a lot more jealous. I can be a tad bit controlling, not overtly, but it's in there. So I kind of just looked in the mirror, tried to recognize my faults as best as I could, and was like,
Yeah.
what would work better for me to where me and a partner could enjoy each other
Right.
without anybody necessarily inflicting themselves on one another. If that makes
Right. Okay. So yours was really trial and error, just kind of cruising through life and just kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Victor?
Yo, so I have been non-monogamous and polyamorous since late 2000. The woman I was dating at the time, who eventually became my wife, we were discussing it, and I remember distinctly she had told me, she was like, "Hey, I think I want a girlfriend." I was like, "All right, bet," and she was like, "No, just me." And I was like, "Yeah, no, that's what I heard. That's what you said. You didn't say
Right.
us, you said you." And she was talking
Right.
about how, like, in previous relationships, how if she explored the idea the boyfriend always had to be involved, I was like, nah. And then that's when we got to talking, how although that was our first time actually cementing in and doing the research on and everything like that, I have always felt that way. I have always felt that why, if we can have like multiple friends and multiple family members
Yeah.
and they all get their own circles, why can't we have multiple partners? But I didn't know there
Right.
were words for it at the time.
right.
Right.
So it was because of her, she allowed me to explore that. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, this is that thing I've been looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I feel like
Yeah,
that's genuinely been the trend. Like most people that I have come in contact with are like, yeah, I've had these feelings, or I've had these thoughts, or I've had these questions, but I just didn't have the words to place them. Like I didn't have the
right.
vocabulary to explain what it is I was looking for. Yeah. Okay, so that's awesome. That is awesome. So with that, so you've been in the game since early 2000s. Fat, how long have you been
Um,
practicing? I know you said you're relatively new.
2017,
Okay,
so a little
2017.
time, but not a lot of
Okay.
time.
Okay. So then between the two of you, like what were some of the biggest misconceptions or myths that you encountered or you had for yourself prior to exploring it? Like, well, rewind before we get there. Have you like come out, I guess would be the vocabulary, to like your family, friends, the people around you? in your day-to-day life?
It's not. I don't think it was really necessarily coming out, especially for me, because growing up, I always kind of preferred more than one partner. Like even when I was talking to people, like talking phase, whatever you call it, I preferred it to be kind of a multiple thing. Um, and so it wasn't necessarily a coming out. It was just kind of like. Also, my family's pretty accepting. Like they're not real too stringent about stuff like that. So
Right.
it wasn't really like a big to do. It was just like I don't really feel like traditional relationships as far as like marriage and the one-on-one commitment and everything really works for me. And I haven't had like a heavy talk about it, but I don't know. I guess I'm an adult and they understand that. I make
Right.
my own path.
Right. What about you, Victor?
So for me, there wasn't a big cutting out per se. It was just like, yo, this is how I function, like it or not. And it's not like many people growing up to me really had very strong, monogamous marriages and things. So you can't be
Right.
like, oh no, we've been married 37 years. Hell, growing up, my
Right.
grandmother, my birth grandmother, my maternal grandmother was separated from my biological grandfather the entire time because they didn't believe in divorce. I'm just like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fuck is that about? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, when it came down to it, it was like, oh yeah, I just see multiple people, and everybody has like their terminology for it. So I had to explain to them, no, it's not that. This is what it's called, and this is how it's practiced.
Right.
And you still have some people that just shake their head. I'm like, that's cool. You can just shake your head. Just know that this is how I live. And
Right.
you ain't gotta like it. You just gotta accept it.
Are you
I
gonna say
for
something?
I, for one, just applaud everybody for basically speaking their truth, living their truth. Because I am currently still, I'm wrestling with that whole notion of finding out the where I fit into that, and I'm just so happy to know that I ain't the only one. Because like what Fat said, it was like my mind, and what you said Vic, was also my mind. I was like, yo, this
Yeah.
is so awesome. But I was like, I don't know how to articulate it properly and
Right.
explain how it works out because it was like, for me, for like you said, Fat many times we've had relationships with people where it didn't work out because we're always like we're talking to multiple people at the same point in time, and I never knew what the dynamic of that. I was always programmed and wired. You got one person. One person has to be your everything. One person has to
Right.
be your
Right.
go-to. One person has to be this that princess Romeo and Juliet. All of them things like that. It's like
Right.
that's it. Only one person. And while it may work for others, but it's not. And I always felt like falling into that narrative of okay, I got to be this person for these people, but in reality I just wasn't like I'm capable of giving my heart to one person, but I can still mingle, talk, sleep with other people and not have that be an issue for me. And when talking about it with family, it was more so like it sounds like you want a sex slave. Oh, you don't know how to really be a man.
Right.
And I'm getting all kinds of like callings. I'm like, no, it ain't nothing like
Right.
that. It's just like I don't want to basically be tied down to and tied down to a title of some sort. And then it's like, and maybe that's not the right choices of words I'm using for it. But it was just like trying to find the right way of thoughts or whatever just to try to get it out properly, which I couldn't really get out, and that was one of the hardest things about it. Fat, I remember you so you're what would you call what your thing is like?
Oh, and again, it's a recent terminology that I learned, but ethically non-monogamous,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and that basically, I mean, it's basically non-monogamy, but just letting it be known up front that
Right.
I'm gonna be real about it. I'm gonna be honest about it. I'm gonna be upfront about it. I'm gonna let you know that
Right.
we, you know, the way I like to say
Yeah.
it is nobody is nobody is nobody is with me, and nobody is under the impression that we're going to be together or anything like just to let it be known that because a lot of people, oh, I'm this and I'm that, and they have all these people that they kind of lying about and they kind of sneaking around and they kind of this and
Yeah,
that.
Right.
yeah,
I'm more so, I let it be known. I currently have a woman that is my submissive that I, spend a lot of time with, but she knows that, it's still open to where I can talk to other people and she can talk to other people. It's not even, it is what it is. Just just the openness and the choice, and you know what I mean. But rolling back, because I know you were going to ask about some of the myths we had, and I don't want to take your question.
Right.
But Mike really overlapped that a lot, because what he's feeling now about not knowing and not feeling like maybe he's the only one, that's a lot of where I came from with it. I thought I was weird.
One thing I just want to add and just get that out early. You can explain how you want to live to people, and people are going to try and rationalize it based on what they know. And then that's when they say, "Oh, it sounds like that's what you want." It's like, no, I told you what I wanted.
Right.
You are changing that. That's like me saying, like, "Oh man, I want tacos. You know, I want meat and cheese and lettuce and tomatoes." Oh, sound like you want a sandwich. No, I want a taco. I told you I want a taco. I
That
mean,
is a
like,
great analogy.
listen to what I'm saying.
No, but he's got a valid point on that. He's got a valid
Exactly
point.
how it is.
So we got to guess, who's this lovely guest we got on?
Yes, I wanted to pause for a second. Lydia, can you hear us? And can we hear you? That's another question.
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. If you wanted to take a moment to share a bit about your experience or experiences with non-monogamy and how you found yourself on this path or here in this space.
Well, I'm not completely. I'm open to non-monogamy. I've only tried monogamy, but I'm in the spaces. I am in the lifestyle, so I'm, you can say, adjacent to that
Okay. Yeah.
somewhat. And also, even through therapy, I've been introduced to the non-monogamy. My actual therapist suggested it to me, so that's actually what happened. But I've done the research. I unpacked it. You know, the misconceptions of it all, and now I'm in a space where I'm comfortable and open to it. I haven't done
Yeah.
it, but me being in the lifestyle, I'm considered, as a single woman, I'm considered a unicorn. So I am, approached a lot by couples. Have I entertained couples before? Yes, I have. So I kind of got a taste for it. I know what it's like. But there is a big misconception about the whole non-monogamy poly world, or whatever people call it.
So if I could, I noticed that you said you're in the lifestyle, but you didn't consider yourself non-monogamous. So what differentiation do you feel like what's the difference for you with those two
Well,
terms?
well, the lifestyle is a big umbrella of a lot of different things. So different
Right.
type of kinks, different type of fetishes. It's not necessarily, some people swing, some people don't, some
Yeah.
people are neuter, some people aren't. So it's just a big umbrella. But because I'm in these spaces, I throw parties, so I get introduced to a lot of people, and I'm network and meet a lot of people. So I get exposed to a lot of these things, and of course, in the lifestyle, you get the people who are non-monogamous, who typically like to come to the parties and the events and do things outside of events and parties. So it's not it's adjacent, but it's not the same.
Okay.
I don't know how to the best way to put it.
No, you got
I
it.
I mean that's awesome. While I was doing this whole coming into this whole poly dynamic situation, I was telling Jordan about it. I was like, I want to do it, but then again, I was like, I don't think I could do it because the way I was viewing poly was I had to be equally loved everybody the same. I'm like, man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not built that I can love one person the same and that other person's gonna feel like they're left out. And come to realize there's a whole like Vic and Lydia said, there's a whole umbrella of a different kind of way of going. And how
Right.
Fat said it, there's acronyms that I didn't even know about. There's like 4-letter words. I'm like, what does that mean? Someone
Okay.
please help
So
me.
first off, I would like to clear up something first. So first off, non-monogamy, ethically non-monogamy. We're going to stick with that because you could be non-monogamous and be a cheater.
Yeah.
You know, that is
Mhm.
definitely not the ethical part. That's not the route we want to
Yeah.
talk about. But let's stick with the ethical non-monogamy. So ethical non-monogamy covers, it's a large umbrella. Under that, you have polygamy, you have polyamory, you have swingers, you have
Mhm.
cuts. You have all those things. All those things fall under ethical non-monogamy because in relationships, either you're monogamous or you're ethical non-monogamous. I mean, or you're non-monogamous. That's
Non-monogamous,
it.
right.
Those are your two options, right? Um, so yeah. Also, to your point, when you're talking about like you have to love everybody equally, the only thing, it's been my experience, the only thing that you have to concern yourself with is that everyone involved is getting the proper attention that they
Mm-hmm.
need and
Mm-hmm.
desire,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Correct.
So if one person is like, yo, I only need to see you once a week, and then we can communicate those other 6 days via memes,
Right.
but we can do the thing, that's good. You have another person like, yo, you got to live with me. That's cool too. That don't mean you got to live with all of them. That don't mean you got to see all of them just once a week. So it all depends on your dynamic that you have with each one of your partners.
Right.
I heard this term called nesting partner, which is like
Yes.
awesome to me. And I was just like,
Right,
what is
right.
that? And then somebody broke it out to me. I was like, oh my God, I think I'm a nester. I think I'm a
Yeah.
nesting person.
Hey, yo,
I think
you
I'm a
might be.
nester.
You might be.
That's me. I think I could do a nester person. Like, yeah, I can. Let's rock that. You know?
And
Yeah.
ultimately, I feel like that's how it should feel. If you look at it and you're like, "That's me. That's who I'm
Right.
supposed. That's how it should feel." If you're in a situation and you don't feel like this is where I'm supposed to be, you need to start maybe exploring and find out, what it is that you do
Right.
truly like.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
because like when they broke it down to me, like I was saying before, I didn't think I could do polyamorous because, again, the programming of the old ways of dating and being in relationships and having love and everything is one person, one person. While monogamily, intimate monogamy, I can do to one person. I can't be intimate with just everybody. You know what I mean? I can talk to you, have fun with you, flirt with you, kick it with you, slide up in them DMs or whatnot, and do whatever. But it ain't finna go nowhere with me because I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not.
so,
You know what I mean?
and I'm not trying to run over anybody, but then
Yeah,
that
no.
also brings up the question, how does everybody define intimacy? Because
Right.
intimacy isn't the same for everybody.
And
Right.
I
So
got and
you
I learned
like,
that too today. I
you
learned that
know,
too
Right.
today.
some people physical intimacy is very important. For some people, intellectual intimacy is
Mm-hmm.
very important.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, their big thing is like, I just want to be in your presence.
Yeah.
That's intimate. So it all depends on how y'all define intimacy.
And I
Mm-hmm.
So
think
you might be able to be intimate with different people depending on what the intimacy is. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But it
it,
goes back to what you said before, Victor, with being aware of and making sure that everybody's needs are being met in that dynamic, right? Because that's the beautiful thing about poly is or non-monogamy in general is that there isn't a one size fit all. Like
Right.
you shift as is needed. Like you mentioned before, whether that's with intimacy, whether that's with dating, whatever spectrum we're talking about, there is space for shifting to make it your own, to personalize it, specialize it, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So yeah.
I was talking to this lovely lady, and she broke it down to me the whole nesting thing, and like I'm in that journey, Jordan, where I'm talking. I'm just trying to feel the feels, right? And she broke it down to me, and it was like there's like you got to have like boundaries and rules with your partner and break it down. And they were like, oh, if it's me, you can't like when we're together, you can't kiss anybody. You can do your thing, you just can't kiss anybody because to me, that's it. That's our kind of thing. And I'm like, yo, that's dope. That's what's up, right? And then I was like because I did an open relationship once before, and that
Hmm.
was and I'm not gonna lie, I was gangbusters with it. I liked it; it was cool. But then I wasn't like processing it in the right way. While I enjoyed that moment and that time with that individual, I ended it because they were sleeping with somebody I didn't like. But then I didn't create no kind of boundaries and rule because again, this is all new to me. So now that I'm like in this whole world and trying to figure out myself or what dating is like for me, because I
Right.
tried the monogamy thing and like Fat said, man, I tried the monogamy thing and the jealousy part kicks in a lot. I'm not a jealous person, but I'm becoming jealous and I don't like that. And the possessive nature comes into play. And I'm like, oh, I want you for me, but I also want you to be happy. And I want you to be with me because I make you happy, not because I'm chained to your leg by force or I'm chained to you by a child. I'm chained to you by tenure or something like that. And so it's like discovering discovering this world has really been a huge freaking eye opener for me at the age of
Hmm.
41, coming to realization of this. I was just like, man, had I known this a long time ago, I would have been flipping through books, learning, just deep diving. You know what I mean? Like, goodness.
so. Like going into what you were saying about how with the boundaries and everything, but with the jealousy, that's one I'm kind of on the flip side. I'm normally the jealous type. Like I get jealous. I feel like I'm a little bit selfish. I'm gonna keep it real. But even just in my short amount of time in the journey, I have learned to kind of let that go, because you you for me, I don't really want to commit. And I don't even want to say I don't want to commit, because I commit to different things, especially if we have a real friendship. I will commit to something like that. You know what I mean? In the sense of, I don't want to settle down. You know what I mean? Or I don't want to, uh, uh, just the whole marriage and happily ever after and all that stuff. It's just, that don't resonate with me.
Right.
And so,
Right.
um, with that being said, I do get jealous, but I've also learned that, well, if I'm not gonna settle down, and if I'm not gonna be a person, and if I'm not gonna be for this person, it would be unfair, unreasonable, um, unfeasible in a lot of ways for me to expect somebody else to shackle themselves to me. You know what I mean? So it's been a lot of give and take. I've learned that it involves a lot of give and take. For everybody to be comfortable, for everybody to have their boundaries, their standards, their rules,
Right.
whatever things may be. So it's going to be a compromise. Sometimes somebody's going to have to give up this in order to get that. You're going to have to, let that go. If you're going to be, because if you're going to be jealous, then go find you one woman to be with, and you can have her all to yourself. But if that's not what you want, Fat, then you're going to have to be fair about it and be ethical about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then that brings me to another question. We'll get back to the myths and misconceptions, I promise. But so how do you navigate jealousy in a non-monogamous, and insecurity in your non-monogamous dynamics?
Is that just like an open question, or are we like picking people, or like? Okay. I didn't know if you were just gonna like popcorn it and toss it to somebody, or what was going on.
Listen,
I try not to
whoever's
do that
able to
because
answer
people
it
feel all
first.
kind of put on
Lydia,
the spot, so I just
let-
let people freely speak.
Yeah, let's go with Miss Lydia. She ain't talked as much. What you think?
Right.
I, that's because I've been chasing my dogs the whole time. Yeah, they ran out the house and I had to go chase them outside.
Oh
But
no.
okay. But to how you navigate, I had to learn this because when I did my session with my therapist, when she brought it up and I was telling her, like, insecurities and jealousy, those are the main two things that most people have in this particular space. However, what people don't understand is, like, it's you have those same insecurities even in monogamous relationships. So it's the
Facts.
same, it's the same level of jealousy, same level of insecurity. However, with the non-monogamy, yes, you have the potential of there's a potential of cheating, there's a potential of a lot of things. However, the transparency. Once you learn how to deal with your level of insecurity and not internalize hurt, that's a big deal because a lot of people don't know how to do that. Um, uh, Having control of people. Most men, even in the lifestyle spaces, most men don't know how to, like, they'll be in this lifestyle space with their woman, and the woman would allow them to play, but they won't allow the woman to play, which is another
Oh, I
level of
hate that
insecurity.
shit. My bad.
Right,
Ugh.
right,
And they want to
right.
control everything.
So
Yeah.
correct, but that's because we have also a level of objectification, right? A lot of men consider their women their property, their possessions, right?
Hmm.
So there's there's a different level of insecurity that people have to unpack personally before you can do it. It's not just we're doing this because we just want to have sex with other people. It's
Right.
really so that you have to do it to understand that I want you to be happy to explore different people, whether you want to or not. The options is
Right.
available to you and it's open to you, but I know that you love me. I understand that you're my nesting partner and you love me. So we're doing life together, and whatever we do outside of there, we're just having fun and enjoying other people and other experiences. So, but it takes a level of unpacking, and most people can't do that. It's not built for everybody.
That is so
So
true.
I agree with that. I feel that a few things. First off, I think what many people don't understand is that they don't understand the difference between jealousy and envy. right? Like I'll tell you, day one, I'm an envious person all day, but I'm not a jealous person. And like jealousy comes from when
Right.
you feel like somebody is taking what's yours. That's a jealousy
Correct.
thing. Like my partner is spending all my time with that person and not enough time with me. That's jealousy.
Right.
Envy is just like, look, I don't have anything they have, and I want some of that. That's different. Like I said, I will sleep in my envy outfit all day. No, no problem. I understand that's just one of my sins, whatever. But
Keep it
when it
honey.
comes to
Keep it honey.
jealousy, yeah, I'm just saying. But when it comes to jealousy, I don't have that. And the reason why it's easier for me to overcome my jealousy and my insecurities that if my needs and desires are being met, then I don't feel like I'm losing
Okay.
out. Right. So if I need, going back to an example, if I need to spend one day a week with my partner and I get my one day a week with my partner and they want to go spend these other days with other people, I'm good because I still get my one.
Right.
I still get my Wednesday. They can do whatever else during the week. That's cool as long as I
Right.
get my Wednesday. I'm good.
Right.
Also, I think another thing that helps is that I celebrate my partner's victories and wins. So when they're out, I'm with them on Wednesday with it, right? And I keep saying partner because I am pansexual, so it's not always just like females or female, male, whatever. I really don't care what shell you come in. If I feel you, I feel you. End of story. But going back to that, I celebrate my partner's victories. So it's like I can kick it with you on Wednesday, and then you be like, "Oh, Thursday, I had a great time." I'm like, "Yo, for real? Tell me
That's
about that."
great.
Oh, I
Yeah.
met such a. I'm like, bro, what they look like, what they do, what y'all do.
Right.
Hey, that's great. I want more of that for you. And if I feel
Right.
they're being unsafe, I let them know, like, yo, you talking about this person? I don't think that person is safe. Like, that's on you,
Right.
but I'm just letting you know how I feel. So yeah, I
Right.
think celebrating your partner's victories, supporting them, understanding that as long as you're getting yours, that's fine. Because at the end of the day, they still want you. That's the important thing.
Right. And I think one of the things that I just want to point out that I really appreciate about what you said, the jealousy and envy thing. Jealousy is very much, and you mentioned this, jealousy comes from a place of a need not being met. Feeling like
Right.
I have some unmet need and I'm clawing on for dear life, right? Versus
Hmm.
envy for me is like an appreciation. Like I recognize that that thing over there is dope. And
Right.
I would, maybe I want to have that thing over there, but I don't need it.
Right,
Right.
right. I don't need it, but it showed you. I got my taco, but that hamburger showed you look delicious.
Right, right. I can still appreciate the hamburger,
Amanda.
right?
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing, to think about when we're talking about jealousy. It's coming from some unmet need within whoever, right? But any other commentary on like navigating
I,
jealousy,
I can say
insecurity?
though during my journey, right? One person that really made it like a eye opening thing, which was really shocking, but the way he broke it down was Kevin Gates, where it was just like really uncomfortable. Where he was like, so she was like, I forgot what the girl's name is, but it was like a snippet of the girl saying, so if I'm fucking, and so she's like, if I sleep with a guy and he does all these things, and you know what I mean, we together, and Kevin Gates is like, so you're not gonna tell me about it? She's like, no. You're not gonna show me the video? She said no. He said, what? You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be my partner, my dog. You ain't gonna let me know. If I go ahead and I just be like, I come to you, I say, look, baby, I just punished this little girl earlier. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, but that level of honesty though, to me was just like, that's how I want it to be. But it's like I've been shackled to be this other person for so long though. You know what I mean? To basically be like, yo, and then people, and when I say this to people, it's like, man, Kevin Gates got money, he could do that. And I'm like, but no, it's not about the money though. It's about the level of intellectual, like he's in a different mental space where he doesn't let the minor things or the little things of like jealousy and possessions and all these things get to him. It's an open honesty with your partner. And that was just a beautiful thing that I was like, yo, this is who ain't is anybody. I'm looking around like, is everybody watching this? Is it just me? But but it's like all over TikTok and Instagram, and it was just so funny to like relate to that. You know what I mean?
I just want to chime in for 1 second and address something. So, like, going back to boundaries, you had mentioned Kevin Samuels saying that chick had sex with somebody and didn't
Kevin
show him the
Gates,
video, or
Kevin
Kevin
Gates,
Gates,
Kevin
whatever.
Gates. Not,
Kevin Gates, chick had sex with somebody and didn't show him the video, and he was whatever. I just want to bring up a boundary thing because with that, there's a whole nother level of boundaries that are involved in that. She potentially could have not shown the video because her other partner didn't give her consent to show that video. And that's something that we have to be considerate of when we're having these
Right.
conversations, right?
Yeah.
Just because
Right.
you have rules and boundaries, the other person involved has rules and boundaries as well, and everybody has to make sure that they're respected in the process, not
Right.
just the
That part.
primary
and
partner.
and I saw that as a snippet, so I wasn't quite sure how deep that conversation and that interview went. I didn't really go look it up afterwards. That little, it was like a 5 minute, I think it was like a 3 minute little clip, but I saw that and I was just like, okay, cool, that's what's up. It was funny though, but then it was like he was like, you ain't. But the thing is, not even so much as the video. She was like, he asked her, "You're not going to tell me about it?" She says, "No, I'm not going to tell you." He's like, "Why? You're supposed to be my partner, my best friend, my dog. Why you ain't gonna just tell me?" And it was like, Jordan, you and I talk about this, how everybody's comfortable. Everybody says they want honesty, but they're comfortable being lied to, because the comfortability in the lie is the safest. And it's normal to them. Where, oh, everyone says be real. But if your partner says, if you ask your partner this question, "Hey, would you cheat on me?" And you say you want the truth or the lie, and they say the truth, and you tell them, "Yeah, I would cheat on you if such and such, such and such." Why would you tell her that? Why would you tell him that? You're hurting their feelings. I'm like, but they ask for honesty.
The truth hurts sometimes. I mean,
I mean, it really does. It really
You
does
know what I
hurt
mean?
sometimes.
but
Yeah. So
again, I just want to go back to the disclaimer. Like, just because you agree to let your partner go do whatever they want doesn't mean that they have to come and tell you about it if they're not comfortable with
Right.
that. I just got to keep harping on that part.
And I
That's
had
something like I've known partners, mainly married people, who's like, "Oh, I tell my husband, I tell my wife everything." I'm like, "All right, bet." That means I know there are certain things that I cannot tell you, because I may tell somebody something in confidence that I don't want anybody else
Right.
to know. I don't
Right.
care. I don't even want you to go before God Himself. If I said don't tell him, don't tell him. You
Right.
not
know,
God Himself. The Lord already knows,
Right.
brother. The
I
Lord
don't
already
care. I
knows,
said
brother.
don't tell nobody. I said don't tell nobody. I meant that.
Okay,
Right.
okay. Run
Right.
that, run
see,
that. We go with that.
me personally, I would prefer not to know. And it's not. It's just like, what are we gonna talk about? You know what I mean? Like, and it's not to say they can't tell me like, hey, I had a great time and went on a date or whatever, whatever. Like, that's
Right.
all well and good. Like, tell me the stories, but you don't need to tell me all the, yeah, we went back to his place and he did this and I
Right.
did
Every
that. Like, what
detail.
do we go
Yeah.
right?
Right.
What do we? So if you don't want to tell me, like I've had women be like, yeah, is it okay if I go out with old ex or something like that? I'm like, we grown. You don't have to tell me anything. You know what I mean? Like, the only time I feel like somebody is beholden to me is when they have beholden themselves to me. When they say I'm yours or I'm going to do this under my own
Right.
volition, then that when I expect something, you know what I mean. But other than that, you're an adult. I'm an adult. If you wanna, it's cool if you want to tell me. I don't want all the details, but if you want to tell me what happened and that we had a good time, that's cool. But ultimately, if you don't want to tell me anything about when you left the house, when you came back, or
Right.
anything, that's up to you. You know what I mean? So, but that's just where I sit on that.
And that comes back to
But that also that
boundaries.
that happens exactly. That's boundaries. But I think, like, for example, when I invite, like when I have couples that want to come to my events and stuff like that, I always tell them, listen, have this conversation before you get here. Don't have this conversation at the door. Don't have it when you get here. Don't have it on the way here. Have it a
Yeah.
couple days before. Set your boundaries before you even try. It's not like wake up one
Right.
morning and like, hey, we gonna do this open relationship or this poly. What you think about it?
Right.
That's not how it goes. We have
Right.
to
Right.
go over this. Like, okay, do you want to know? I might not want to know.
Right.
You might want to know. Okay, cool. Am I comfortable with telling you? That's a different conversation.
Right.
Then you also have the fact of, okay, what are the guidelines? Okay, can I kiss? Can I not kiss?
Yep.
Can like, how do you like, how do we do this thing? You know what I'm saying? It's like, so that's
Right.
different. Can I do oral? Can I not do oral? What
Terms
do
and
you want me
conditions.
not to do or not to do? And then also vice versa. Then we also, not only do we have to have our own personal boundaries, our own nesting partner boundaries, right? Our dynamic boundaries, and then we also have to consider the other third party's boundaries, because they have
Right.
to have boundaries too. So there's different levels of boundaries that everybody has to work around to make it really successful. But I find like a lot of times the nesting partners don't respect the person coming, the outsider's boundary,
Yes.
right? So that because they are the nesting partners, so they move how they moving, and like you gotta catch up. You know what I'm saying? But they don't
Right.
consider the other person. I'm the third party. I'm the third wheel. So if I'm coming into your dynamic, you gotta make it comfortable for me, not the other way
Yeah.
around. I'm the outside. I don't know what's going on. I'm walking into something that I don't know what's going on. There could be war going on in this house, and I could be caught in the crossfire just because. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times there's another layer to that, anyways. But we,
No, I feel you.
but when people don't establish those boundaries ahead of time, there's a big, 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 big risk of things not working like it's supposed to. Somebody's gonna get hurt. So I don't suggest anybody do it if you're not built for it. If you can't set boundaries and stick to boundaries, you can set
Right.
them all you want to. But if you know
Yeah.
you can't stick to it, just don't do it.
Saying it's not a boundary, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like she's saying, like, because I'm also in the lifestyle, but communication is like one of the biggest things you'll learn in the lifestyle. You'll learn that shit. That's like lifestyle
Day
101.
one,
Y'all got to learn how to communicate
101, day one,
Mm-hmm.
Word.
day
absolutely.
one. Yeah. So, and you gotta learn to communicate with your partners and anybody else that you, like she said, anybody else you bring into that dynamic, no matter how long that person is supposed to be there, you know,
Right.
and
What?
discuss it beforehand. Don't come to the restaurant then talk about like I don't even know if I want to eat here. Like, nah, B, you
Hmm.
just get something off the menu. Let's go. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I
Right,
love that analogy. I love that analogy. That's dope.
right.
And
And
what I find to be a lot more difficult for a lot of people when it comes to expressing that is that in me being open and like talking to people about it is that like you said, a lot of men's mentality behind it. Like, bro, you cheating anyways. Why don't you just keep it 100? It's different though. Men do it different. When we do it, it's different. It's
blah blah
different. I'm like,
blah.
how is it different, my guy? Explain to me
It
how.
is
I'm trying to
not,
get it because they all say the same thing. Every guy says the same thing, and then
Right.
it's like, and then you hear
Biology
other.
and all that.
You know what I'm saying? Like you hear certain people, and it's like, so if your girl was to do it, nah, man, I'm a man, bro. Nah, bro, I'm a man. I'm a real
Yeah.
man. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't get
bro.
it.
Mm.
It's like
Yeah,
it's not computing to me.
Yeah.
So let me get it straight. You can do you, but then the second she wants to do her, it's a problem. But I'm like, bro, don't you see how that's wrong though? Oh no, no, but you understand it's different though. It's like me, she letting somebody else in her, he's taking control and power. I'm just like,
You,
what
yeah,
is it?
I done heard so many explanations and reasons. All of
Hmm.
them trash. All of them doo doo butter.
I
None
just
of them stand up.
said
excuses.
doo
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 doo butter.
butter. Not doo doo butter. Oh my goodness, yo, you wildin' for that one. But yeah, it's just like yo, hearing it's like trying to tell people trying to tell people the approach of relationship because they'll ask you, yo, how come you're not in a relationship? Why are you single and things of that nature? And just being in it, and it was like everyone automatically assumes, oh, because I'm 41, I don't have kids and I'm not married or whatever, I'm not in a relationship. There's something wrong with me. It's just like for the longest, I'm not trying to live up to that lie. And it was like, it was better for me to be where I'm at right now. Find it. Granted, it's late, but maybe it's not late. But I'm finding myself more and more to be comfortable with it because I didn't know what it was. Because I was like, society says I can't do this. So where do I fit in? You know what I mean? Where do I comfortably fit in where I can sit with my partner and have yo, listen, I'm having urges. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be with somebody else. I love being with you. But that girl over there, she keep throwing it at me, and I keep saying no, and I really want to clap them cheeks, but that's all that is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't want to take her out on dates. I don't want to go to the movies. I don't want to cuddle. I don't want to do Netflix and chill. If that means I got to get it in order to get it, all right, cool, fine. I'll Netflix and chill. Cool, just to get the cheeks. But I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? And then it's like, I don't want to, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to make love to her. I'm going to make love to you and do
Yeah.
things. But and it's like, oh, you going to be, so you're okay to telling a female that? You think I'm going to just take that from you? I'm like, no. But that was just a you know, you know,
I was
you
just
know,
playing unless you wanted to.
I know, right?
it was just like one of those things where you just like you gotta dial it down a little bit and just because I see the anger and I'm just
But
like, yeah,
in my experience, don't dial it down. You gonna want to dial it down. I have always like you get there, and when I looked in the mirror, I literally looked in the mirror and I was like, "What do I want to do?" I was like, first, you need to be honest with yourself. Before you're honest with anybody else, you need to be honest with yourself. And what do you want? What do you require? What are your boundaries? What are your standards? What are your preferences? What are your do's and don'ts? What are your yeses and
Yep.
no's? What's your safe word? You need to get in touch with you. I think there's a lot of introspection that needs to take place. And then you need to be able to be honest with the next person and accept them being honest with you. And if I really feel like a big part of what I've learned just, in the past 5, 7 years, whatever, is communication, going back to what Victor was saying, just that communication, learning how to not only talk, yes, but to express what this is, where you are with it, why you feel how you feel. Because a lot of people are gonna, like Mike said, they're gonna turn it or they're gonna twist it into oh, you just want a sex slave, oh, you just want somebody that's gonna do this, that, the third. It's like it's a lot more than that. To me, this is choice. To me, this is people being able to be available to do what they want to do. I always feel like you gotta let. I'm gonna say it how I say it. You gotta let a motherfucker do what they want to do, so you can find out what they would rather do. And
Yeah.
so, just let it flow. Because if they still choose you, if somebody's still under their own volition, you could go be with any man, woman, whatever, you know what I mean? But you still want to come and hang out with me on a regular Saturday. You know what I mean? Even no sex involved, even. I just want to spend time with you. That means a lot more than, oh, you gotta come spend time with me because you
Right.
obligated to me.
Right.
We gotta, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just a lot more open. It's a lot more. As long as you communicate, I feel like that's numero uno. You gotta
Hmm.
communicate. You have to tell people what they get into and let them make their own decisions. It's gonna be
Right.
you're gonna get a lot of no's. Oh, I don't want to do nothing with no other women. I don't want to share you with no other women. I don't want to whatever the case may be. Okay, that's cool. You got to be able to let somebody go and not be like, oh, it's personal. They hate me as they don't like me. Or they think I'm nasty. They might. You know what I mean? They might, but that ain't none of your business.
That's on
You
them.
got to be
Yeah.
okay, right? You got to be
Yeah.
okay with what you got going on. So, that's
Right. And that brings me back around to the original question about, misconceptions and myths that have been encountered in this lifestyle and this journey. Like, let's talk about. Anybody have any that come to mind? Like,
The
Oh
the
wow, where do we start? Where do we start?
Bruh.
for
go
me,
go
Bruh.
go. I want to
for
hear
me,
this because
that's
I'm not
the
gonna.
one.
I'm not. Gonna, I've given my tidbit of experience. Remember, I'm a novice at this point right now. I'm a baby dragon hatching out the egg. I haven't even flapped my wings yet. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Lydia, go ahead. Go ahead. Break it down, Lydia.
Well, I haven't been in the lifestyle for very long. It's only been about 2 years, but I have two co-hosts that I host parties with, and they each of them have been in the lifestyle for 20 years plus each, right? So I'm learning
Hmm.
a lot. I get a crash course dealing with them, but I have a friend of mine who's an evangelist. She does decorations and stuff like that. So sometimes when we have parties, I hire her. That's my best friend. I hire her to come do the thing, right? So at first I had to tell her, I'm like, listen, all right now, I know what you this ain't what you think. This is when I told her, she was like, friend, you got me going, what? I said, listen,
Right?
calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. But I explained it to her, and I was like, you see that guy over there? He's a pastor. See that lady right next to him? That's his wife. This, like, full blown pastor and wife is in the lifestyle. Like, he does security for us
you'd be
or whatever.
surprised.
My, but that's what I promise you. So I explained to her, I'm like, you can actually be monogamous and come to our parties. It's not about. It's just exploration, right? Now, of
Right.
course, when it comes to ethically non-monogamous, that's a whole different thing. But people like to think that it's just all just everybody just swinging from pillar to post. Everybody trying to just be nasty and just do nasty
Right.
stuff. That's, that's a little true. Some people just want to be nasty. But a lot of time people are just exploring what they like because I might be with a partner, I might like BDSM. I've had an experience, for example, I may have had experience or I want to explore certain level of kink or something, whatever that you as my partner, I love you, but you can't do this for me.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So That's what I believe. A lot of people misconstrue it as. And so the people who don't understand, they look at it like it's a dirty thing. Of course, it's taboo. Of course, because not too many people talk about it. It's a
Right.
hidden kind of thing. It's like kind of like an underground kind of, uh, uh, blanket over it, but in its true essence, it's really just people exploring things that they really want to explore outside of their own personal relationship, right? I might be with a man who doesn't like to go out, who doesn't like to go to festivals, who just rather be home playing video games. I love him. He does everything else for me, but I like to go out. So I'm going to find me a
Yeah,
boyfriend that likes to hang out.
bro, she got it, bro. She got it. She was like, "Yo, this cat right here, my man's. I love him, and we do these things together. But sometimes I want to do this stuff, and he's not into it. So I'm gonna go find somebody that helps you do that." And old boy was like, "Yo, have fun at your concert. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. That's the
Yeah.
life. That's
Right.
it."
And I find it to be like hard though, because like Fat said at one point, it was that indoctrination of possession and pride and
Mm.
that
Right.
high masculinity, which is very toxic masculinity, where it's like, fuck no, man, I'm a man. You ain't doing that without. No, if I say you
Yeah.
can't go nowhere, you can't go nowhere. If I say you can't wear that, you
What
can't
do I
wear
look
that.
like if you're
What
out
do
with
I
some
look
other
like?
guy?
What am I, a
Hmm.
cuckold? No. And it's like, bro, all of that anger and aggression, and it came in, and I'm not gonna lie, it was like poison. I'm just eating the poison. I was just like, I don't really like the way it tastes and
Right.
feels. And then it took me a long time to get out of that, to the point where I'm at this point where I'm just like, yo, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe that's not me. I'm forcing something that's not me, because even in monogamy stage, I'm just like, yo, that girl walking by, boy, she just give it to me. I'll tear it up. Hey, baby, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just like, it's not, she doesn't know, but my mind is like, boy, she give it to me right now. If she don't know, I might do it. But why do I have to be that person? You know what I mean? And it
Right.
was just like,
Right.
and it's just like, it's the group, like the male masculinity, that toxic thing is like where we are driven that way. But in reality, maybe the poly, the open lifestyle, or whatever the acronyms are, whatever fits everybody. Maybe that's what a lot of men need to explore, rather than just say, "Oh, I'm married, but my wife's at home, but I'm clapping cheeks on like 4 or 5 other chicks, and she doesn't know about it." Are you okay with that? Because they'll be the same ones that's like, "Nah, man, she done cheated on me one time,
Oh yeah. 100%.
one time, one time,
100%.
one time, bro." I ain't gonna lie, you done told me some stories, bro.
Yeah, and
Like my G, I ain't even gonna lie to you. It ain't karma, but I'm just saying though, bro.
you
Like,
had it coming, my guy.
her
You
one to
had
your
it coming,
20, her
bro.
1 to your 20, my guy. Come on, her 1 to your 20. Is you really gonna die in
Yeah.
this sword right now? You're gonna die in this sword? Okay, okay,
But that
let's go.
comes back to societal expectations and societal
Right.
pressure, right?
Exactly.
There's
Yes.
so much
Yes.
pressure for men to man up, and I gotta do all the
Well, yeah.
things that we, say that men or masculine beings are supposed to be doing. But it's like,
So so here's my thing on that. I'm gonna come back to your like biggest myths and stuff I heard in that. But here's my thing on that. When you look at it from a mathematical point of view, first off, people are just like, oh, you need to man up and do this, and I'm just like, or what? Like what's the alternative? Like, oh, you need to learn how to fix a car, or I can support the people that actually like fixing cars and pay them to do the thing, or like what? Oh, ain't no woman gonna like you if you do that. They might. They've never had the opportunity. Maybe I introduce something new to them. You don't know. Because on one hand, there was a whole period where there was like, oh, ain't no man supposed to be in the kitchen. Not how many women you come across like, oh, I love a man that can cook.
I love men
You,
that can
you, you,
cook. Just,
that's what I'm saying.
just
You know
saying.
what I'm saying. So it's like when people come with those like societal like pressures and stuff, I'm like, okay, but like, what's the alternative? Like, what you gonna do if I don't do it? If I don't live up to
Right.
your expectation of me,
Right.
like, like, or what? Like, and what? And then I used to think about that, going back to what my man saying about sex. Because a lot of times people are just like, oh man, when you a dude, you got to be out there. You just got to have the best sex possible. But you want to find yourself a virgin. Find somebody that ain't had no homo sex. I'm like, okay, Paul. So all my heterosexual guys, let's look at the numbers. If you're supposed to have a ton of sex, but you're supposed to have a woman that's not having sex,
We have
y'all
sex
must be fucking
with
each other. That must
Right.
be happening.
Right.
Y'all
Where
must
you
be
gonna
bumping
find it?
uglies.
Where you
I
gonna
mean,
find it?
right, where you
Exactly.
gonna find it? Y'all must be in the bathhouses because that's. I mean, because like numbers
The
wise,
bathhouse. Oh my
I mean
goodness.
that's what's like. Oh, yo, bathhouse, yo, bathhouses.
That's where they at.
Yeah, that's a thing. So, no, but I want to touch back on your like myths and stuff. The two biggest myths that I personally have encountered is that a being ethically non-monogamous, especially me being polyamorous, people think like, oh, you don't want to, you just can't be committed. I'm like,
I've
that
had
is
women say that to
absolutely
me.
not
I
the
have women
case.
say that
Right.
to me
That's
all
why.
the
Right.
time.
That's why I
I'm just
All
like,
the
hesitated to say
time.
that earlier because it's like I can commit to a lot of things. You know what I mean? It's just what am I
exactly.
committing to?
Yeah.
Right. I'm committed to different things. I'm committed to work. I'm committed to this relationship. I'm committed to the kids. So if you got two kids, you trying to say you can't parent more than one child? Because I can't be. Come on now.
Hey, you broke it
You
down.
can't love both your parents.
Right.
Like look at these numbers. Let's just do
No,
the math.
no, but they're not thinking about it like that because that
No.
part right there where they're like, "Oh, you're just not you're not ready to commit. You're not a real man." Women have said that to me, and I'm just like, "Man, you know how long I've had my cell phone playing?
Right. You know,
Girl,
it's
don't
like,
try
bro,
me.
I'm trying to see.
Like that, girl. Don't try me like that. I've been with Sprint for 20 years, girl. Stop playing with me.
I done had Netflix since they was only doing DVDs. You know?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, man. I've been driving the same car since high school. Don't no. Don't try
Right.
me.
Same football
So,
team, same barber.
right.
It's just like, I'm scared of commitment. No, I just don't want your level of commitment. That's what that is. And it's like, well, you're not a real man. I'm just like, okay.
If I could
So
just
the
jump in real sec for a second, I think a
yeah,
lot of times the problem is that we confuse commitment with control. Like
yeah,
you're
I agree.
Yes.
saying commitment, but what you really
Yes.
want is to control me. So
Right.
there's that. Anyways,
Yeah,
continue.
and confinement. Like you're trying to
Yes.
confine me. It's like I know these words all start with C, but they don't necessarily mean the same thing. Like, come on now. The other biggest myth that I personally have encountered is that people think that being non-monogamous is always a sexual thing, and it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Because you can
Yes.
have deep feelings for people on different levels. Like she said,
Yeah.
she can have the one cat that she loves them, they do a bunch of stuff, but he's not the type to go out, right? But she also may want to explore those things with somebody that she can also invest those emotions with as well on that level. So she could just find somebody that she can be emotionally attached to and do that. Especially being in a lifestyle, to piggyback off her, a lot of people think that automatically when you're in the lifestyle, everything is sex related, and it's not. And that's another good example because some people think like, oh, oh, you going over there for that impact, oh, you going over there for that role play, oh, that means you're gonna get tied up and have sex. No, not
No,
necessarily.
no, and you're right. I used to be one of those same people that looked at threesomes and monogamies and swingers situations as just that,
All sex.
as a way to get your rocks off, as a sex off. And I was coming from a hurt place and all of that things. I
Right,
wasn't fully educated on it. And then after a while, it's like, yo, I got like, it's like most of us we met on a blurred site, so it's like I
right,
want a girl that I can watch anime with. She ain't gotta be my chick. You know what I'm saying? But I want a friend I can watch anime with and geek out with, and preferably of the female nature because I don't see that often. But it's like you don't have to pretend to be a girl who likes anime to be with me. You know what I
right.
mean? But be okay if I got a
Mm.
female friend that's into anime and we can geek out about it together without you feeling like I'm smashing her, without you feeling like I'm trying to get in them guts. That probably is that too. Just saying. But at
Right.
the end
You,
of the day, if I make that move, I'm gonna let you know and I'm gonna ask you if it's okay. But I want to be able to ask you and run it by you first, not feel like me having that conversation is a disrespect. Because to have that conversation with people is like, yo, you're disrespecting me. Oh, if she has that conversation with me as a man, oh, you disrespecting me. People would tell me you don't respect her. You really don't love her because you're having that conversation. That means she's not the one for you. You really don't love her. Oh, he doesn't really love you. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. Like again, the societal norm and expectations of is like this. We did an episode on it a few seasons back, and it was like the reality is it's like it goes in so many different ways to the point where we're just trying to remain toxic in toxic situations that clearly may not be for us. It's okay to love multiple people, and it's okay to have multiple people that can suit you in different ways. But that nesting partner thing is something I'm definitely on. That's a something. I'm rocking that. I'm doing that. I'm going for that. I'm going for that.
So,
So
my
But
biggest
but there's
myth,
levels to it because you can either be in a nesting or you can be a solo poly. So there's
I'm
that
solo
too.
poly. I'm
You
not.
see,
I don't want a listing
you
partner.
can be a,
I'm solo poly.
right. See, you can be
What
a
does that
solo
mean?
poly. Meaning you're poly, but you just the third party all the time, most of the time.
right, you don't have to
So
live with
you don't
somebody.
have a
You
nest
don't. Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
did that for a
So
long time. I was a side dude.
So, yeah.
well that could be. I
that dude.
mean, unknowingly. I mean,
Like
knowingly
the person
probably,
didn't
but
know. The person didn't know. But now that you say it, I've been a side dude
but
for a long time. So
that's
technically,
unethical.
that's
Right,
unethical.
right,
That's
Non-monogamous.
unethical. But
right,
no,
right,
That is non-monogamy, just not. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
right.
okay, yeah.
Like
Right, but
I
that's
don't need another
unethical part.
husband. I don't need another husband or wife. I don't need a partner that I live with. I don't mind having multiple girlfriends and or boyfriends though. That's my thing. Like I have been the boyfriend for somebody who already has a wife or a husband. That's fine. I'm cool with that because needs are being met across the board. I don't hung out with them. I don't go over to the partner's house and chill with all of them. They invite over for dinner. We all kick it. We watch movies and play board games or whatever. Sometimes we touch dangly bits. Sometimes we just chill. But the fact is,
Dangly bits.
when I come home, I'm coming home. I'm coming to the back cave by myself. I don't. You can come visit. You can come visit the back cave, but you
And
can't
go
live here.
home.
You can't live here. Even
Okay.
Alfred don't live in the back cave. He lives upstairs in a mansion. He just come down and clean up
Right.
sometimes. I'm just letting you know.
Exactly.
My guy said
So
dangly bits. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
so
So
my
go
my
ahead.
just to stick with the biggest myth thing, my biggest myth. I really got a couple of them. I'm gonna try to remember them as I go along, but the one that really sticks out to me is people constantly think that I don't know what I want because
Yep.
you
Mm.
because you don't
Yep.
want to be with one partner all the time and do the regular things that everybody does. You just want to go around
You
and
just
all
confused.
use exactly. And
That
it's
was
like,
said to
listen,
me.
I know. Listen, I know exactly. Oh, I want to go back, Mike, to something that you said. It was something about partners, but I'm gonna stick to where I'm at while I'm remembering this. I got a lot that I've been building up. Um, but anyway, I have taken a hard look in the mirror. I've done a lot of, like I said, I've done a lot of introspection. I've sat with myself in a quiet room. I've cried over Hennessy bottles. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, and really dug deep into what do I want? What is it that you want for yourself?
Mhm.
And to do
Mhm.
all that basically shadow work. Like I didn't realize that kind of that shadow work until
Yeah.
recently as well. But to really sit in that dark place with yourself and say, this has not been working. When I get into a monogamous relationship, like I said, I'm jealous. I'm a little bit controlling. I don't want you talking to this. I don't want you going. I don't want you wearing. Da, da, da. I don't like being that person to nobody. You know what I mean? I want people to be able to do what it is they want. And I found that through non-monogamy. You know what I mean? I found that it's okay. Whatever you want to do, it's the ebb and flow. You know what I mean? I tell people the door is open and
Yeah.
it's revolving. You know what I mean? If you want to go, you can go, and once you go, if you want to come back, you can come back. It might not be on the same, level or pedestal or whatever, but you're welcome to come back and we can talk and see, what have you learned over the course, or what have you been, where have you seen, where have all the good stuff. So it's just it's to do that work and to have somebody reduce it to, oh, you don't know what you want. And then the second one, this rolls perfectly into the second myth, is that it's about control. Is that,
Yeah.
oh, um, um, she's only doing this because you brainwashed her, or he's only doing
Yeah.
this
Yeah. I saw that
because,
one.
yeah, man, it's like people can make their own choices. Like, it's okay if you tell somebody, this is where I'm at with it, this is what I do and don't want. Are you able to accept that? And then they can say, yeah, and really mean it. And y'all really can rock with that and roll with that. And a lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people think, oh, he done had her locked up in the room, probably doing all kind of crazy,
Right.
uh, 50,
Right.
been
Yeah.
doing 50 Shades of Grey to her, and you know what I mean? And it's like, no, we had real conversations like adults about the do's and don'ts and what would you like? Oh, that's what I was remembering, Mike. You were saying about how there are how, like, sometimes you want to have that person that's just for you while you do I found that if you be real and put it out there where you at, there are some people out there that want to
Mm-hmm.
be with just you. Like, okay, I know it's not going to be more than what it is, but um, personally, the girl that I'm messing with most regularly right now, she's made that clear. She's like, she can be with whoever, but she likes my company and she likes my sex and she likes my humor and we can go on road trips and we can
Okay.
go on dates. So
Right.
she could be with whoever she want to be right now. And I don't know nothing about it. I'm not checking her and clocking her like that. But she's made it clear, like, this is where I just want to be. You know what I mean? This is where. So it's possible, bro. Just don't water it down. That's what I'm saying. Like, just keep it real. And then that rolls into, this is my last one, y'all. My last. And this one is more of a personal one for me, but people like to think that FWB, friends with benefits, the emphasis is on the benefits. That you only messing with this person and
Yeah.
considering them a friend so you can get something out of it,
Yeah.
whether it be sex or money or whatever that may be. But for me personally, it's always been the focus on the F, the friends. You know what I mean? Like
Connection.
Yeah, I
yeah,
feel you on that.
you know what I mean? And even when, I was younger and I didn't know what it was and I didn't understand and I was just talking to multiple women and sometimes unfaithful, you know what I mean? It was more so of like, it wasn't because I could get multiple sex from multiple people, da 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 da. It was the energy of it. You know what I mean? If I'm talking to you and I don't know, I'm still up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you decide you want to go to bed, but she's usually up at 2 o'clock because she just got off work at this time. So let me hit her up and she gonna give me some more energy and I'm gonna give her some more energy and we gonna, keep the party rolling or whatever the case may be. It's always been like that for me. And so going back to what Victor was saying about how people always reduce it to, oh, it's just about sex, or you just want somebody that's gonna do this, that, and the third, and you gonna tie them up in paddles and whips and chains. And no, man, sometimes it's about the choice, the freedom, the option, the
Yeah.
availability. You know what I mean? Just the fact that
Yeah.
somebody can come to you and say, this is what I want, and this is what I expect. What would you like? What do you expect? And for those two things to mesh, and for two people to just be like, let's rock then. That's more beautiful than, oh, I don't want to die alone. Let me find somebody that I can get married to. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Oh
Let me
my
just
god,
check
that
this
is the
box.
worst.
Yeah.
That is the worst. Yo, we actually reached our time, so this is a great thing. I feel like we could possibly do a number two, episode two on it, not a number two, just a
Part
part
two.
two to this. So, Jordan, you got anything for us?
No, I mean, so really, with that being said, if anyone has any last minute thoughts before we wrap things up, we talked about some myths and misconceptions. We talked about some different non-monogamous dynamics and what they look like, and there are so many more that we haven't even discussed. Um, but yeah, any last minute thoughts or insights before we wrap it
Last
up?
minute, last minute thoughts, insights, suggestions for anybody that's going to watch this later and how it feels. Anybody go? I'm gonna go first though. People, people, please listen, 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 listen. Let me tell you something, buddy. Okay? Express yourself. Be completely honest with yourself. Like Fat said, like Victor said, we got to be honest with ourselves and we got to be honest with those people. Give them consent and be open. Well, E and M. Well, I don't know what the acronyms are,
Ethical
but
non-monogamy.
Right.
ethical non-monogamy. There's abbreviate all of them things, right? Be ethical non-monogamy about it. Explain that to the person what that looks like for you and give them the benefit to basically explore that. And if you are a person like myself, in fact, at one point in time, that are constantly like dealing with multiple women and it's not for you, and you're feeling like you can't be with just one woman, take a step back, process that information within yourself, and please be open with these people about that. And that way we can prevent a lot of people from catching stuff. We can prevent a lot of people from getting their behind beat, just all kinds of things. Let's just be honest with ourselves. If you're not meant to be monogamy full on, then that's fine. But give that person a right to know. And you please do not put yourself in a box for society. That's all I got.
Thank you. Fat, do you have
Um,
anything? Oh,
Yeah, so I'm gonna just keep it short and sweet. I feel like I done ran my mouth enough. I don't know if you can see this from here, but this is my message. It's backwards, but it says consent is sexy, and
yes.
and
yeah, it
in,
is.
in these spaces, that's kind of my message. Just in general, like let people have the option to make their own choices, and it goes deeper than even like assault and all that stuff. Which is like that's the overarching
Right.
part of the message. But goes even deeper than that. Just give people the opportunity to say yes or no, and no means no, and yes means go go go. You know what I mean? So consent is sexy, y'all. Just please.
Thank you. Victor, what do you have?
The only thing I want people to know is that when it comes down to your relationship or relationships, regardless of the number of people involved or how long these encounters last, the only people that matter are the people in that relationship. Don't let outside forces try and tell you how to dictate your relationship. The only people you should be listening to is yourself and the other people you were developing those social contracts with. Those are the only people that matter. Those are the only people that matter in that. Everything else, I
Amen.
mean, I appreciate your input, but nah.
Yes. And Lydia.
The one thing I would say is education is key, right? So
Hmm.
there's a lot of information out there now
Yeah.
to help people who are interested in this particular lifestyle. Again, it's not for everybody because you might do the research and be like, yeah, I can do this. So it's key to understand what you're getting into because this is not the typical everyday what we're used to. So you almost have to retrain yourself,
Yeah.
relearn a lot of things,
Right.
unlearn a lot of things,
Unlearn.
basically.
Yeah.
And there's spaces out there as far as like, for example, like I know a lot of people on social media. So if you're on Facebook, there's Facebook groups, there's Black ethical non-monogamy groups. There's different type of groups that are out there that support people to introduce you to the knowledge and how you should move. Of course, you don't never know how to swim. You can read about it all day, but you will never know until you get in the water. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, you still need to know the mechanics. You still need to understand, why certain things are the way they are. Because a lot of people don't understand the rules. There are rules to this thing, to a lot of these things, a lot of these spaces, and you don't want to come in and harming people, harming yourself. Because there's a
Right.
lot that goes on to this. There's a lot of mental that goes on to this. So I would always tell somebody to educate themselves prior to. Find somebody that you know that's probably in the particular lifestyle and learn from them. Ask questions, be transparent, be open.
Thank
And
you.
I gotta say one thing though, guys, check out Lydia's book. She's got a book out on Amazon. Definitely check it out. Lydia, what's the name of your book?
It's called apartment two. No, child, I don't forgot.
Apartment one.
You
No, I got it.
put her on the
Apartment one
spot.
twelve. It's Apartment 112. It's on Amazon. Check it out. It's an awesome book. You know what I mean? It's very juicy. Seems kind of juicy and tingly. I haven't read it yet. I read a few things in it, but just the title itself is like, ooh, okay, I'm gonna get it. So
Yeah.
definitely check it out. Check it out. Check out our book though. You know what
Any other
Yeah.
plugs before we roll out?
I mean?
um, I since you're talking about plugs, I'm thefatboy.com. I'm actually a rapper, graphic designer,
Okay.
digital artist, photographer. I'm thefatboy.com. All correct spelling, all one word. Check me out. I got my music up there. New single Prima Donna out right now. It's real good hip hop, man. Good classic hip hop. Got a little modern feel, but I'm 38, so I'm getting a little old. I ain't really popping bottles in the club no more.
Mm.
So check out my lifestyle rap, y'all.
Thank you. So, with that being said, that brings us to the end of another awesome episode. I want to thank you all for joining us, leaning in with us today. We really appreciate everybody's input and perspective and all the things. And remember, as always, our goal is never to dictate conclusions, but to encourage self reflection and open, honest dialogue. So, to help us
Yeah.
better understand the world around us, but most importantly, to help us better understand ourselves, right? So, we invite you to keep the conversation going, like, share, subscribe, all the things so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave us a rating on the, what is it called? Spotify or Apple, all the
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
podcasty places. Head over to the comments, share your thoughts. We really want to hear what your myths or misconceptions or whatever's about non-monogamy, your experiences. Hey, we want to talk about it all. So go on down to the comments. Thank you for leaning in and going beyond the sum of the parts with us. Until next time,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Bye.